Hello and welcome, Inspired Misfits. Today we are looking at continuing our series, Mindful Connections, that looks at anxious attachment or anxiety in relationships. We're going to be exploring some fresh tips for managing anxiety in relationships. Hopefully, some of these strategies will go beyond the basics for you. We're going to be looking at some things like emotional labeling, physical connection, and scheduled worry time. There's also going to be other avenues or resources introduced to try and help cope with anxiety in relationship. So we will explore some of those, get into them in depth, and see if any of those can kind of help manage this challenging and distressing issue in relationships. Anxiety can sometimes feel like an unwanted guest in our relationships. We're going to review this information to see if there is anything that can be done to try and improve upon that and make your relationship run a little bit more smoothly. We're going to start with some lesser known strategies. Some of these may not have been ones that you have heard before, and that's okay. That's actually what we want because I want you to have some variety that you can refer to in order to help out your relationship. The first strategy we're going to look at is emotional laboring. The great thing about this particular strategy is that it empowers you to say your emotion out loud. So, if, for instance, that is anxiety, how you would start that off is just by saying, I feel anxious because. So, basically, you're going to be using an I statement, which is also something that I talk about in my Mindful Connections workbook for anxious attachment. You can certainly explore more information within that workbook, and feel free to comment secure attachment in the comments if you are interested in more information about that particular workbook. But what you will find is that an I statement will not only help you identify how you're feeling, but it'll help you express that feeling to your partner and hopefully begin to open up the avenue of communication so that you guys can connect and potentially have some co-regulation. The next strategy we're going to look at is physical connection itself. So, a good thing about physical connection is that it actually helps to increase the experience and production of oxytocin, and it helps to decrease the stress hormone cortisol. So, if you are a person who finds themselves highly anxious, this is something that may work towards your benefit. It also helps to establish a stronger connection and a stronger bond within the relationship because you're spending some time with that person and really kind of establishing that connection through physical touch. Next up, we're going to look at scheduled worry time. So, delving into that a little bit, when I say scheduled worry time, what I mean is that if you're a person who is prone to anxious thoughts or thoughts where you tend to worry a lot or replay situations a lot, what you're going to plan to do is schedule a time frame that will be just so that you can look at that particular thought as much as you want. If we're talking about 5 minutes, that's what you would set your timer for, and you would give yourself free reign to worry during that particular time. You have to be really disciplined though, because when that timer is done, that is time for you to set that worry aside. It's going to be important for you to be able to move on with the rest of the day and focus on more constructive thoughts afterwards. Lastly, let's look at mindful acceptance. This is going to be the final strategy that you can use with your partner to try and manage anxiety. The good thing about this is that mindfulness has been popularized lately. A lot of times we'll see people doing this either individually in groups. One of the things that I've noticed lately, however, is that there are some trending people who are involved in yoga practices and mindful practices who do practice this and show a very good representation of what this could look like. So, if you are a person who's prone towards more anxiety, doing some sort of mindful breathing, doing some sort of meditation or yoga practice with your partner can bring the two of you together. Again, that may involve some physical connection, which is a strategy that we referred to earlier. So you would be getting that as well as working on some co regulation within that meditative technique. If you guys are breathing together, you're going to feel more synchronized, you're going to feel more connected. So, this is a great strategy for both reducing your anxiety and helping you to feel more securely attached to your partner. The acceptance part of this strategy comes when you recognize that anxiety is another emotion. And although it can get very severe in trying to manage it, it is an emotion and it does serve its purpose as being a signal that needs to be paid attention to. So, practicing mindful acceptance can help you recognize that and address it as you need to within the relationship. Remember that even though anxiety can be very challenging to try and navigate, you and your partner have the ability to do that. Using some of these strategies as a regular practice within your relationship can help to build the bond between the two of you and hopefully create more secure attachment. Thank you for joining me today. If you found any of this information helpful or insightful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps me to be able to continue to bring this information to you and to share with you some of my insights. So until next time, I hope you stay inspired, Misfits.